Hello, hello. This is Sweetcast. We're back again after a nice long weekend of relaxation and hard work or whatever else we were doing. We've got a full panel today. Yeah, Eric wasn't doing any hard work,
Mm-mm.
but of
It's the
course,
weekend, man.
say hello, Eric, to everybody.
Hello, Eric, to everybody.
There we go. Nailed it.
Dad joke.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
We also have George Alexopoulos on the stream. George, how is it going?
It's going so good. Thanks for inviting me.
Glad to have you as always. I think this is the third or fourth time we've done something together. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And then we have Wyatt. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. What's up, everybody?
Great. Okay, we have got a lot of stuff to talk about actually, and we're going to cover the entire gambit from capitalism to socialism or communism, whatever you want to call it, fascism. But don't demonetize this video, please. This is totally politically correct, and I did put capitalism is bad in the title so that the YouTube gods will not demonetize this stream. So we're going to go with that. We're going to talk about James Murdoch, who's super rich, and he is investing a whole ton of money into comic books, believe it or not. And so that's an interesting story to get into. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Portland and some of the Antifa stuff. And I think this is important because while geographically a lot of the hotbeds of activism and Antifa and things like that, they're sort of relegated to certain areas of the country or of the world, but on the internet they are everywhere. So they're right in your face. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Let me get to the super chat right off the boat here though. Reno says, "You lit devil." Gen that next video up, you rock. All right, cool. Let's do that. Good stuff. Real quick recap though. What is going on with all of your projects? Everybody is doing comics right now. I've got some updates, but Eric, why don't you get us started off? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been super busy today. I updated the Flying Fortress. I put an update on the Flying Fortress campaign page with a little 8-page preview. So if you go to the here, I can just screen share. What is this magic? If you go to the Flying Fortress Remastered Indiegogo and click Updates, you're going to see an 8-page preview of a part of the story that is probably one of my favorite parts of the story. It is the Indiana Jones. It's the start of the Indiana Jones motorcycle chase, and it's just a whole lot of fun. And it's up there for you to read and enjoy. And then we crossed 19,000 today, which is unbelievable to say. So thank you to everybody that has backed this book. You are why this is happening, and I really, really appreciate it. So yeah, keep spreading the word, get those referrals out there, win that free art. And I've been lettering Monster MD and also.
It's a lot of stuff.
I've been very busy.
Let's go to George now. George, you've got, just briefly, we're going to go over your campaign in a little bit more detail, but just give us a little update of what's going on with you and your comic endeavors.
Yeah, sure. I just launched my Indigo for a book called Mary Sue last Friday. It's been about 3 days. Delighted to see that it's like a third of the way funded already, and it's just an amazing miracle. And I had no idea what was going to happen. So yeah, we're just keeping an eye on that. If it keeps growing at this rate, I'm just going to start drawing it as the campaign's going. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm doing political cartoons and wrapping up other stuff with my freelance job. So I'm going to free up my schedule to finish this book, and who knows what happens next.
Good stuff. Yeah, and I do want to talk about your book for sure. I, and mainly my wife, have been reading Problematic a lot. She's got a head start on me, but she's actually been really, really enjoying it. I have too, but she's like, I think she's halfway through the thing already. So
well, that's so cool, dude. I was actually watching your review before I jumped on here. I would especially be interested in hearing, does she normally read comic strips and stuff?
No. So I really
Oh,
appreciate that, by the way.
wow.
Thank
I
you.
really want to hear what she thinks then.
I've been really trying to get her into comics for years.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah,
That's
I was
awesome.
like, yes. So she's like, you're backing Mary Sue then, right? I was like, yep. So we did it.
Oh, dude.
So I'm
That's
really,
so
really,
cool.
really pleased with that. Thank you.
Oh, man. Thank you.
What
Yeah.
I need to know, does Flying Fortress get the Mrs. Sweetcast stamp of approval?
Well, yeah, she told me to back it, of course.
I'm sure that you're telling me the truth.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Okay. Okay.
But she hasn't read it yet, so she can't love it yet. I'll say that.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll happen soon though. And then we've got Wyatt. Wyatt, let us know what you've got, and of course we'll get into your book in more into detail in a minute. But let us know what you're working on.
Sure, yeah. I've been working on Ardana number 0. We're about a week in now, a week today, and we're getting pretty close to 1,000, I believe, right now. And yeah, I just picked up, I think, 4 new backers just today alone. So it's moving along now. So we're doing good. We had a epic pre-launch party that most people have probably at least seen part of a video of by now. And then yeah, it was great. It's a lot of fun. It's going well.
Nice. Cool. And like I said, we're going to get into both of these projects into detail. But I know people want to get to the first news story of the hour. Let me catch this super chat real fast, though. This is Towers Comics for $5 Canadian. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. He says, check out my friend's book, Beast Demon, on Indiegogo, launching today. It's a good day. It's a good month for Indiegogo projects.
Yes,
Do
indeed.
check that out. Beast Dominion. All right. First story. Let me share my screen. And I am putting together a brand new PC. Right now it's on my kitchen table, and I just got the processor in and the heat special fan thing. It was like aftermarket one, so it took me a little while to figure it out. But I'm
It can be
hoping
tricky.
tomorrow's stream is going to be a little bit better.
That's what you think, and then you realize you have to install your operating system and update all your drivers, and it's going to be a full day of work tomorrow.
I know it. Yeah,
And tonight.
Maybe it'll be Wednesday then. We'll see.
Don't make
James,
promises you can't keep. That's all I'm saying.
No, yeah. Well, I could just tell everybody, hey, this is the new computer.
And then your screen freezes and the stream crashes.
Right. We all we all die.
Yeah.
James Murdoch. You guys know who James Murdoch is? This is the son
Yes.
of
Rupert.
Rupert
Yes.
Murdoch.
Son
Yes.
of Mr. Rupert Murdoch from Harry Potter fame.
It's either that one or the Fox News one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. I don't know.
Either way, they're both he's British, right? I think he's British.
They're all the same.
Yeah, I believe they are English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. James Murdoch is going to invest millions into comic books. This story is actually a little old, and I'm shocked that I hadn't seen this sooner. Somebody sent it to me in a DM though, and was like, "Why aren't you covering this?" And that's a good question. I have no idea. James Murdoch.
Yeah. Fix this now.
Yeah, exactly. We'll pretend if you had $1 billion, could you invest and would you invest millions into comics? So my question here is, I don't know, be thinking about this. Is this really about making money in comics that he feels that there's money to be made, or is this about just a love of comics and wanting to make them better?
Or are they trying to push an agenda?
That's another option as well.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe James Murdoch, who's Australian, by the way. Thank you, Robert Roberts, in the chat. Maybe he just really loves comics and wants to make them more important to people or get them out in front of people. That's the pie in the sky. All the article really says is he's going to put some money in it. There's no like game plan or anything.
No,
not like nuts and bolts, but hopefully, I mean,
I would like to think though, if you're going to put that much money into comics, that you're seeing a pathway to success or to make money. But I don't know though, because Jeff Bezos bought a newspaper, so
yeah, that's true. We've all seen how that turned out.
Not so sure. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, chat, let us know what you think. Okay, let me get into this article. It says James Murdoch is living every boy's dream. He's spending millions of dollars on comic books. Murdoch, the younger son of Rupert Murdoch, will invest $5 million in comic publisher in artists, writers, and artisans. What is an artisan for comics?
Honestly, I don't know. They're probably the craft services.
It's like fancy bread making.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Yeah.
They're there to feed the unionized comic book artists.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Let them eat bread.
Let them all eat croissant sandwiches.
They got to eat something.
Yeah.
Let's see. AWA is the venture-backed publisher. So AWA, I've never heard of that. That's the publisher, venture-backed publisher of comic books led by Bill Jemas, the former publisher and chief operating officer of Marvel Enterprises. Okay. Here's the big quote, guys. This is where his virtue is lying. He says the value of storytelling is only going up. Is it? Why? What's so valuable about storytelling?
I know what he's doing. He's investing money in comic books as a cheap way to get movies made, to get movies optioned from stories.
Yep.
That's
exactly what this is.
Movies. Yep.
That's exactly it. Yep. He says, and AWA is uniquely positioned to create a tremendous platform for writers and artists. He also pointed out that Marvel has been really successful with getting intellectual property into movies and things like that. So yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is. Why are comics? It's interesting because comics feel like they're used a large percentage of the time just to develop intellectual property. Why is that? Why comics?
It's cheap. Relatively cheap.
Yeah.
It only takes a couple of creatives to do it. You know, you can give them slave labor wages.
It's true.
Yeah, give them half a sandwich and say, I need the pages by Friday, all 22 of them. It's a cheap and fast way to get a story out there, and then you can hand that to Mr. Hollywood and say, hey, here's a picture idea for you. So, I mean, it's a front, it's a scheme, he's trying to hoodwink all of us.
Yeah, what they're really buying when they sell IPs is the audience. So say someone produces a comic that gets really popular, Death Note or something. Mm-hmm. It only costs a few tens of thousands of dollars to produce, develop, and then the audience already wants to buy it or watch it. So okay, let's throw now $1 million on this IP and produce the best Netflix original ever made. Yeah, if anyone knows, it was a disaster. It was a joke.
Yeah, that movie was terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's the Sanic of Death Note.
Yeah, that's terrible. Though the animated one, like it started out with the manga, right? And then they had the
animated one's good.
That would be cool to have your story done into an animated series. Doesn't seem like that's what people usually are shooting for, but that would be pretty great, I think. Yeah, so this is interesting in that, I don't know. I feel like this happens all the time in comics. It's slightly annoying. I guess the thing I'd compare it to is you're on a hike somewhere, and then people are passing through. That's probably a really bad analogy.
It's terrible.
That's awful.
Yeah. Continue. Let's go down this path, this hiking path.
Hiking, it's like you're carrying this big backpack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rolling a boulder up a hill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing. It is kind of obnoxious though, because
on roller skates.
Yes.
Uphill both ways.
With wax wings.
We're crossing the streams here. The wheels are falling off. This isn't really working.
Yeah. We'll just go with it.
Yeah. It's Monday. What are you going to do? We have a case of the Mondays.
Absolutely. He said he could spend up to $1 billion on entertainment assets. That is what they're calling them. Entertainment assets. So yeah, way beyond comics, right? Entertainment.
Absolutely.
Assets. Yeah, via a holding company, Lupus Systems. Yeah, so this is much less about comics. Are these good though? Do you ever read a comic and you can tell it's made for television or made for a movie?
Yeah, there are definitely those out there. I struggle to come up with them at the top of my head, but there are for sure. And then you get even those tie-in ones. What are they doing with those? Nobody's going to read that.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of you guys. Growing as an artist, and you're trying to get jobs. Like you're going into the forums looking for whatever, looking for the next. I need an artist for this story, and then you start reading the post, and it's like, well, it's a movie script that I'm adapting into a comic, so hopefully I can get it back into Hollywood, or it was a TV pilot or whatever. All of those, they all seem to come here as like a stepping stone to get back into or put their foot into Hollywood. And as your boy Zach says, comics are a destination, not a layover, if you will. That at least they are for me. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do, is tell stories in this graphic novel, comic, webcomic, what have you, in this format. And if it becomes something, that's great, but it's not the end goal for me. The end goal is to tell the comic book story and get fans that way. But that's just me, I guess.
No, I'm the same way. For me, if I wouldn't turn something down if someone wanted to buy movie rights with the understanding that they're most likely no movie's ever going to be made, but you'd make some money. But the thing that would be exciting if there was a movie is you'd sell more comics, and it would like ensure like a continuation of your comics career.
If you made a movie,
yeah.
It's worked out great for Marvel.
Well, we'll think about like The Walking Dead, okay, TV series. Walking Dead comics sell. I think, I don't know. You don't think the TV series has pushed people to read the books?
I'm sure it's pushed some, but I think they're two different audiences.
Yeah. Could be true. We need a tiebreaker. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
George, Wyatt, who's right?
I heard. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say there's probably some crossover, and they've probably sold a lot of those hardcovers in like Barnes and Noble and Amazon and stuff. So there might be a little crossover, but I think the TV audience and the comic audience, I think they're mostly separated.
Yeah, very diplomatic. Yeah,
these dummies watching TV don't know how to read.
Read comics.
Talking about, they're just looking at the pictures and drooling.
Problem is, people don't know where to find them even, or that they exist.
That right there is the key. So they know comic books exist because they go to the Comic Cons because they want to meet Norman Reedus, and they accidentally stumble through Artist Alley and say, "Oh my gosh, comic books! I didn't know these things existed. Let me go meet Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead." Yeah. So there is definitely a crossover. I mean, you're going to have that fan that got the autograph want to go over to Tony's More Table, or Charlie Adler or Robert Kirkman and say, "I love the show. Let me buy the book." But at the same time, they're getting different products because the book and the show are different. And I just think that while there are definitely people that have both, I think one audience, there are more people in one or the other camp than people that are in both camps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I word that properly?
No, I think that makes sense. And I do wonder why, though, because it'd be easy to just make mention of the comics. Oh, my son is awake, apparently. To make mention.
I saw the ghost.
That was one of them.
Did you know that there's a child in your house that opens and closes doors?
Get the gun, honey.
Call the priest.
Yeah. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, they could be letting you know that they're at least made from comics. I guess sometimes in the opening credits they'll make mention, like a small.
Based on the hit comic by, Bill Finger and Bob Kane.
Right. But they could say continue reading.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, you can't, are you going to tie in the story? Is it going to be a different story? How does that go about? If you wanted to like make a a tie-in of some kind. Sorry, I have zombies at the door. I'll be right back.
Zombies, front door, back door, all over. Let's look at some of these campaigns, though. Oh, Eric was going to share them. Yeah, he stepped out too. Yeah, let's look at the chat. I just wanted to do a brief look, make sure I didn't miss anything. Here we go. Robert says, I disagree. Comic IP purchase is not an audience of comics. Comic audiences are only a few thousand. Movies need 10 times that number. Fair point. Fair point. Yes, and then thank you, Aldous, for posting links. Here's another one. Albino Thunderbun says, if that billionaire is smart, he will invest in Squirrel Girl and Miss Marvel. Those girls are really going places. Great point. Robert says Australian. Oh, we got that. The Murdochs are Aussies. I'm glad. I always thought they were British. So that's a good update. All right. So let's talk about your comics. George, I want to talk about your book for a minute here. You got 2 books, really.
Yeah, actually. I had someone, I can't remember who, recommended that I offer also the Problematic book as a bundle for this new one. So I'm doing that as well. So if anyone missed out on Problematic, you can grab the book still through the Mary Sue campaign.
Very cool. Yeah, you can get, well, and I was saying with Problematic, I started reading it and then my wife grabbed it and I noticed the bookmark. She had a bookmark in it. And so I've been kind of following where she was, but she's really, really been enjoying it. I've enjoyed it, what I've read, but she's just been devouring it.
That's fascinating to me, though. Like, not to be selfish, but I find, especially with manga, like I'm obsessed with this theory that like manga is blowing up because it also is content that ladies can enjoy as well. So because that's my background, I'm like, oh, especially in Webtoon, I know it's like 50-50 guys and gals reading it. And it's not like it was engineered that way, but I'm fascinated by like a friend would send me I don't remember what it was. One of the best compliments I ever got was like, he recorded his girlfriend laughing until she was crying at one of my strips. And I just thought it was the coolest thing that like, I don't know. It's like, there's something Sunday. How do I
It's magical.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I used to read Calvin and Hobbes or Peanuts. Like there's something about it. Maybe it's the black and white 4-panel format that's just so, it's magical to me. Yeah, it's like this universal, anyone can enjoy it kind of thing. It's just so cool to think that anyone. I'm sorry, I'm just like.
No, people like the energy and the realism that you bring there. Now, the webcomic format is much more accessible than comic books are. And I think that takes a very special type to be able to make that work. And the fact that it's done so well for you, and now we're seeing, Problematic and the follow-up with this comic, I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Sue is very different, of course. Problematic was just sort of like, again, that's Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes, that sort of tradition. So I guess the format-wise, Mary Sue is a lot more of a manga married to American comics kind of thing. So it's similar storytelling and themes, but told in a different format, I suppose. It's not completely foreign to me. I don't know. I haven't done it in a while, and I haven't published any color comics in quite a long time. So it's an interesting exercise too.
Yeah. Well, there's also the like jumping on point, at least, okay, when you're doing webcomic strips versus one continual story, you can just jump in. It feels like you can just start reading wherever and start enjoying it. You don't need all this back information. I know that can be intimidating for people, for sure, if they're getting into comics for the first time. So that is nice. And I will say it spills over because like I'm just speaking from what my wife has told me, but she isn't really enjoyed Problematic so far, and therefore that made her want to try Mary Sue. And now Mary Sue is that's 2 issues, correct, that are a continuation of the same story. Do you have a end insight, or how long is this going to be?
That's actually going to be up to the readers, I think. I was thinking about this earlier today. I have a whole I have several scripts that were supposed to be graphic novels, and Mary Sue was actually one of them from years ago. So the script is ready, but there are a lot of side stories that I can do depending on, let's say, demand. So like I was comparing it to, let's say we're taking a road trip from New York to Chicago. And I definitely know that we're going to end up in Chicago, but along the way, we can make as many stops as we want, or we can even like take a huge detour and go to like the Grand Canyon or something and wind our way all the way back to Chicago. So I could do a short, we can bring it, you know, she has a story arc for her, but there are a million other places she could visit along the way, people she can meet. So it really depends on how well this campaign does, and I'll do more campaigns if this one does well, and we'll just keep it going as long as people want to keep reading it.
Yeah. This is a really cool book. I backed it on day one. And I suggest everyone that's watching, definitely check it out. Eric just posted the link to Mary Sue. And I will say, so you are a professional artist. It's kind of interesting how you get the mix of people that it's their first comic, or, you know, they've been trying to break into comics, so to speak, or do art. You are a professional artist already, correct?
Yeah, it's freelancing, so it's been up and down. You know, some years are better than others. But I've been earning a living at it for about 7 years now in a row, which is a record for me. Before that, I published a few graphic novels, but I wasn't able to do it for a living. So I've been actually working in games development these past few years, and I'm taking a break now to pursue comics again.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see the trajectory of this, because it's also kind of testing out I don't know, like a larger market or a adjacent market for comics. At least in, you know, when I look at Comicsgate, there's a lot of I can look at my analytics for my YouTube channel and get a pretty good idea of what the demographics are, and it's far and wide mostly male, which is great. You know, I like those books. But it is interesting to kind of see how it branches out a little bit, and that's something I love about indie comics is you have the freedom to explore new avenues. And I don't know, yeah, I think you're doing just that. It looks like a really good book.
Thanks, man. I mean, I definitely want. I was saying this earlier. One of my missions is to try to emulate what's going on in Japan with manga being read by everybody, like every demographic, including women. I'm not saying I'm targeting them necessarily, but I want this book, like, it has action, it's got a little bit of romance, comedy. It should have something that everybody would enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely trying to not just target guys with this one.
Right.
Very smart.
Mass appeal, which gets overlooked in comics sometimes. And I will say, this is just my own speculation, but with Downcast, it's been really successful. I've been really, really pleased with the success of it. Something just anecdotally is that I feel like I captured a lot of women that were just passing by. I probably didn't send them there, but yeah,
You didn't catcall them.
Yeah, that would have been sexual harassment.
Problematic.
Yeah, and we don't demonetize us. We would never do that.
No.
So yeah, really cool stuff. Keep checking it out, everybody. And then Wyatt, let's look at your book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, we're working on Ardonna number 0. She's a warrior in a gritty fantasy world. I'm a huge Robert E. Howard fan. Art of Boris Vallejo, those guys. I like the classic style fantasy, so I'm trying to get something a little back to that. Yeah, as our story begins, she's in the process of searching for her father, who's been missing, I guess, about 15 years. And yeah, he was an adventurer himself, and you know, he would come back to visit every once in a while because he was off adventuring, and he would tell her stories when she was a little girl of, you know, the things he'd been out and seen, and kind of inspired her as well. And he's been looking for, he had clues that led him to believe that he's part of a noble bloodline that somewhere along the way has been lost, and the place that they're supposed to be in charge of has been overtaken. And he's trying to put the clues together for that. And here, this is the flashback scene that Eric's scrolling through now. This is actually pages 1 and 2, where he's kind of telling her one of his stories of his latest adventures, and he deals with this crab guy here. And yeah, it's been about 15 years since this takes place, and now, yeah, she's looking for him. And as this page here, this is, I think, around page 6. She is orchestrating a jailbreak to that is probably not going to go as planned. And yeah, she's doing her thing, trying to make some money along the way. She does bodyguard stuff, various rescues, the typical fantasy adventure type of stuff. And yeah, she's trying to put everything together.
Tell us about the creative team.
Yeah, well, I'm the writer. I originally designed this to be a series of fantasy novels, I guess about 6 years ago. And I had put quite the outline together. And then I decided it'd be a lot of fun to do as a comic. I guess about the time I was halfway finished writing the first book. And yeah, the artist and the colorist, they don't know exactly how Comicsgate they're going to be yet, so they're kind of, staying in the background. And there's a letterer you might have heard of.
Who's that now?
Just some guy named Weathers.
Oh, that guy. He's everywhere.
I'm pretty sure all the other letterers don't exist anymore. Seems like it anyway.
And I guess from that cover we can we can pretty much speculate as to what demographic I'm shooting for.
13-year-old boys.
Actually there's been a lot of positive response from the female readers, the fans in Comicsgate, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty cool.
that cover is about as risque as it gets. I mean, she's cool. She's not some third wave feminist character. There's probably not a soy boy in the book.
She's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man.
Kind of, but I mean, she has male allies, and they all work together. And
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's just a good fantasy tale. No agenda. No. I just thought it would be cool to wanted to do a female lead. Always been a fan of that sort of thing, especially the older stuff, not so much the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, yeah, that's at the end of the day. If you make a book that is good, just like quality storytelling, quality art, all that kind of stuff, it really is going to appeal to a lot of people, despite all these other characteristics, so yeah, do check it out, everybody. I know it's been posted in the link several times, and yeah, we'll probably take a look back at that again. All right, I want to take a look at, this is probably the most controversial stuff, and I do appreciate the super chats from earlier, because I guarantee you, I found out like YouTube is making their algorithm so sensitive to demonetize everything, so you can't even talk about stuff like this. But we're going to talk about it anyway. You guys hear about this poor guy? Warning everyone, this is kind of a graphic picture of someone that's been beat up. Fair warning. There's his face there. So this is oh gosh, I already forgot his name. He is basically a conservative.
Name's Andy No.
Andy No, yeah.
Yes.
yeah, Andy No, yeah.
Yeah, conservative reporter, and he got in the middle of an Antifa protest. That's what they always call it. I call it a riot.
I think it's riot is more more accurate. Except normally in the riots there are also like a line of police with shields, like trying to push back the riot. That doesn't seem to be happening in Portland, but I guess we'll get into that.
Yeah, well, that's been, again, this article right here is, and it's by Fox News, which when we're talking about the Murdochs, but they're pointing out that the mayor, the Portland mayor, should be investigated by the feds, basically, and he's already been in trouble for other Antifa related activities. I know, under scrutiny, but it just, every time you see video, there's no police. It's just Antifa. Like, they are the law.
Mm-hmm.
And there's videos of them trying to direct traffic at one point. No police anywhere. They're just watching. Like they're having a riot, and then they're trying to say like, okay, you turn left, and the person's like, screw you, you're not the police, you're not going to tell me. And they're like yelling at some guy in a car because he won't turn.
Right.
Yeah.
And another video where some reporter walks up to some cops and he's like filming them, and he's saying, are you guys going to do anything? And they basically say, we've been told to stand down.
That's
We're
because
just watching.
Standing orders. Yep.
Yeah, they're all the
What
same
happened in
people.
Berkeley last year too.
Yeah, this is really upsetting. And every time I see this stuff flare up, it seemed like it had died down for some number of months. But even statistically speaking, when the summer is happening, there's more violence on the street just in general. I guess it gets warm and people get out and they're annoyed, or I don't know. That's when Antifa plans stuff like this. But this is a reminder to me, like once I got into comics and making my own comics and getting on Twitter, essentially, basically, you start to run into people that are really, really extreme in their points of view, and it can make it seem like that's normal. And I feel like it amplifies them, the Antifa members in comics. And I know, like, for example, George, you really caught the brunt of it online, and thankfully obviously not physical violence, but there's still this extreme rhetoric that people will go by, and they try and do anything they can to silence you. So if it's in person, it's physical beating sometimes, and then online it's anything they can do to silence you or remove you from any kind of platform you have access to.
Or influence. Really, it's a game of king of the hill for them. They can't stand the possibility that there might be someone bigger than them, or who might be able to influence public opinion other than them, or someone that they have installed. I think about this often. I mean, I'm not controllable, let's say, by them. So they have to get rid of me as soon as possible. They have to make it look like I'm some kind of bad guy, spread rumors about me. People like me, I should say. Clint might be mentioning, I think you're talking about the Reddit thing that happened, but yeah, there's a lot of, I was talking, well, I won't mention that here, but I was talking to other creators basically who can't post on certain places on Reddit because they're not approved by, let's say, this hidden council of people who I guess might be Antifa friendly, let's say. We can't have certain comics artists being funny, telling jokes that take the wind out of our sails. We have to make them look bad. Oh, this person is a nasty,
Right.
Or I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned something that they try to control you, and that's something I've really, really noticed in an online environment.
Yeah.
They can intimidate you with the black, the face is covered and sticks and throwing milkshakes or whatever it is they're doing. They can intimidate you that way, but they definitely use other tactics. And I've seen, I don't know, I'd call it like concern trolling, or they'll kind of get you in private and inform you as to why you're really, really mistaken, and you need to change your opinion or not talk about it in public or things like that.
Bends the knee or else. There's actually, I don't know if I've mentioned this on any like live thing or anything, but like I've been contacted by several people behind the scenes at I won't say where, but like they are neck deep in, let's say, leftist politics. They are not comfortable. They can't speak out against, let's say, the party, whatever you want to call them. They can't speak out because everyone knows where they work and who they are, all that stuff. They will be doxxed if they speak out. So it's like a cult. It's really creepy. Like you cannot speak out against what is the approved talking points, or we will get you.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes me, this guy out of nowhere that nobody knows, who accidentally climbed to the top. He wasn't installed there. What is he doing there? We got to get him off.
Yeah. If you can make it yourself, and this is why I feel like YouTube has been such a point of contention as well, is because you technically have the ability to get to the top without anybody's permission. Well, to some degree that's changing, I think. But Indiegogo is the same way. Their algorithm, the way that it works, it has nothing to do with your political ideology or your ideas or your opinions or anything like that. And so they really hate places like that because there is no control. They can't insert somebody to be in charge of those kinds of things.
But we heard about YouTube nerfing political content from conservatives, and I'm sure if PewDiePie was trying to come up today, they wouldn't have let him.
No, absolutely not. And you see it. You guys see my ghost again. You see it today too with smaller creators. When they had, okay, so it used to be you could monetize your channel at any point in time as long as you just filled out the right forms. You could have 1 subscriber and you could monetize. But they took that whole, what's his name, Jake Paul incident where he went to China and filmed a dead body or some idiotic thing that he did.
Yeah.
And they use that as an excuse to suppress smaller creators. So you don't have the same incentive. You could not be monetized unless you had a big enough channel. And so
but I still get ads. They're collecting the money, not the creators.
Right. Yes. Yeah. They're the ones getting money for it. So yeah, they'll find any excuse they can in order to, just seize control or just make it so it's just too hard and people give up just speaking up or trying to be successful on those platforms. Danny Agent 87 says, what chances Antifa has been pulling this stuff in Utah? They've done some stuff. Ben Shapiro came here and spoke at the University of Utah, and I know oh gosh, I can't even think of his name now. Louder with Crowder. Steven Crowder was there, and anyway, he recorded some of the stuff that was going on there. So yeah, it happens. I'll tell you, since I started this YouTube channel, I've had a handful of people send me emails to my work email, and they had to do some digging to get that. That was a little upsetting when that happened. So nothing terrible yet, knock on wood, but yeah, it is a little scary because there's it's the threat of something that could happen or the worst that could happen.
Well, that's in Rules for Radicals. It's more scary for you, let's say the recipient of this harassment, to imagine all the bad things that can happen, and then you'll be quiet, as opposed to them actually acting, and then you won't be scared anymore.
Yeah. Same thing with like I think of swattings. There was a couple swattings in the past month surrounding comics. It's really strange. And they do stuff like that, and it worries a lot of people, and they only have to do it. And again, we still don't know who did it. They do it to 2 people that I know of, Peter Samedi and Edwin Boyette, and it scares a lot of people when they do stuff like that. I don't know. It's a different way of getting control. Are we being too heavy? Is this too serious?
Can we get some bants in here? I'm sorry, I had to walk away and put a child to bed, not away. That will get you demonetized. I honestly, I had to step away. So let's pop some confetti and have some fun. How are the campaigns faring? How's everybody doing today? I don't know. You threw me off. I came back. You're talking about getting spanked, and it's been very weird.
Yeah, that's weird day. Getting into the Portland stuff. Yeah, it's tough, man. These are important. I don't know, it's just stuff that's happening. But you're right. We do want to have some fun too.
Yeah, you know what? Just be good to each other. Why we got to be a-holes throwing milkshakes with cement and punch people in the face, all because you don't like what the other person said on Twitter or something.
You're scared, man. That's all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Go join the army. Something. Get some real world experience doing something.
Yeah. So much good stuff. Or make a comic.
Yes.
Let's check out
heavy hitting life.
You too can fly a fortress.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
You too can bomb Hitler. Well, maybe not. That's what they're trying to do. That's the problem. They're trying to bomb Hitler.
Interested
in exist anymore.
You might like Flying Fortress. I'm curious, Eric, how is your campaign doing now? You were just on a super marathon live stream with
it's been a whirlwind today. So not only was I on every live stream, but my wife was like, I'm gonna go watch a movie with my friends. I'm like, sounds great. So it's like I gotta be dad also which is basically right now it's like PlayStation's yours, go crazy. I gotta make some money for the family. But yeah, I was on an impromptu Comicsgate Live earlier today, and then I was just on with Indie Dave and Sweens from Oddity, and that was a lot of fun. We had a good chat there for about an hour or so, and then I had to hop on to Sweetcast, and I also had Forecast this morning or this afternoon. So I've been in front of the camera a lot.
Streaming all day. And I've still got more work to do. I've still got to finish some pages. I'm trying to finish Monster MD. He's putting a chapter together to put online as like a little preview. And I'm trying to get that wrapped up so that he can stop, knocking at my door. And that's one less person knocking on my door as they continue. As the pages pile up. And I'm back here like, I'm trying. So yeah, busy day. How much money are you at now? How much money have you raised on Flying Fortress?
We are closing in on 20,000. I got 19,362, which I can't even. It doesn't even sound real. It honestly doesn't even sound real. So thank you to everybody that's backed the book. Shout out to Ethan for having me on the stream. It wouldn't be near this if that weren't the case. So. Yeah, I feel very blessed and honored and lucky and whatever else word you want to throw here for that. That's a huge number. And we've still got 5 days left. And Flying Fortress bomb Hitler today. You don't even need a milkshake. You can do it. You can just do it by reading the book.
Actual Hitler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literal Hitler.
Literal Hitler.
Let's check back in with George and Mary Sue. Eric, do you have that handy?
Yes, I do.
All right, then I don't have to crash my squirrel power.
We are here to make sure that all systems are go for Clint.
That as long as everyone knows what this is about.
Yeah, and it looks like Mary Sue picked up another backer. We are at 39 backers at $1,650.
Nice, a third of the way. All right.
Yes, 33% of 5,000. Fixed goal. That's the way to do. That's the way to do it. I say fixed goal.
Yeah, I did a flexible for my first one. Fortunately, my printer's very nice about like small amounts, so it wasn't like a huge hit to the wallet or anything like that. But I don't think I'll be doing flexible again.
Yeah,
they can be tricky for sure.
Yeah,
to me, like you gotta have the book already printed. If I had extra printed and it was just about getting some more orders and selling some more books, I'm sure I would do it, but. I don't know. To me, like you need the money to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's not true in every case. Like some people can do a flex goal and still get the book to the backers that backed it. Like I did Cale Roberts's Guardians of Erloth. It didn't reach its goal, but it was flex, and I got the book. So same with Eric Nienoltowski's sketchbook. However, the shipment came empty. The envelope was opened, and all the books were gone. So we're working that out.
Jeez.
So that's fun. But
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean, still, if you've got a flex goal, I see here that Wyatt does. The idea being, if you don't get it, you can still fulfill.
Yeah.
So, and that's important. Is at least making sure that the backers that back your book get what they want. Get what they want.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're almost finished. The book will be finished before the campaign ends. So
excellent. Sounds like I'll be busy again.
Yes. Yeah. This door's getting crowded out here.
It really is. There's a lot of people. You got to elbow your way to get to the knocker so you can.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying not to, put the palm hands on it like the zombie. But yeah. So I lost my train of thought. I got
You're
talking about zombies.
Done. You're getting it done.
Yes. It is getting done. Everybody who's backed it is getting it, no matter what goal we reach. So, looks like we may have gotten another one since I've been here.
Is that so?
Thank you. Yeah, looks like
we're at 987 with 24 backers.
Yeah. So
excellent.
$13 away from 1,000. We're at 28%. So,
and you still got 29 days left, man. You got this one.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
You guys want to see a new page from Downcast?
No.
Yeah.
All right, that solves it then.
I will close my eyes.
Close your eyes. This is for people that want to see Downcast. There it is. This is the latest page. This is an interesting page. It's like I can't say too much about it, but this was one of it's not colored yet, obviously. But yeah, one of the backers. We had the tier where you could get drawn into the book. That's all I'll say. I won't say any names or anything. I don't want to dox anybody, but this reporter is the likeness of somebody that paid to be drawn into the book. So it was really fun. I love sending those pages out to those backers because I would send it to them first. Like, hey, here it is. What do you think? Mm-hmm. It's just cool to see their reaction.
They say it's garbage. Try again.
Yeah, haven't got one of those yet. Thankfully, that would be a little frustrating. But you know, they're paying for it.
Are we gonna get Palpatine in the book?
Ooh, I don't know. Would that it'd have to be like a knockoff Palpatine, huh?
Like me?
Yeah.
Dime store Palpatine.
There you go. He could be like sweeping up garbage, or I don't know.
Yeah, at the bottom of the core reactor with a broom, like in the claymation of that whatever show that was with Seth.
Robot Chicken.
Robot Chicken, yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff. I'm really excited about this. I just did the update saying that we were 30% done or 35% done, and then we got another page, and so now it's like 36 point something. I don't know. I just like to think of it in percentages for some reason.
Are you using the spreadsheet that I made, or not that I didn't make, but I pointed out?
I not to get the percentages. I kind of just I've been borrowing some stuff from it and converting to it, but I just did a quick quick math to figure out what the percentage was. So I don't know. It's kind of fun to think of it that way. Like, it's a third of the way done. It's good
to see that. Yeah, it's nice seeing the milestones. Like, it's the same. Like when you're watching a campaign, it's nice because you can see that green bar fill up. You don't have a green bar unless you make a super spreadsheet or something, but you don't have that green bar when you're seeing the product. I mean, you do have the pages and all of that, but it's nice having that number. Like, wow, we're already a third of the way done. That's good. And then when you get to like 2/3 of the way done, it'll feel like you have way more work to do than you really do. That's the way I get. The closer I get to the goal, the further away it seems.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost, well, and I'll think about it like, oh, we still have to do this sequence. We still have to do this, stuff that I know is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Nacho just finished one that was a scene or a sequence that was, I think, pretty challenging. He did it a lot better than I think that I imagined it would be. I tried to figure out, how would I draw this? How would you plot all this out with just some of the gravity and the motion and the movement and things and make that work? But he did a really good job with it. So I've been really happy. But there's still more sequences like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm in for the ride. Albino Thunderbun says, Sweetcast is Nacho drawing these pages digitally. So initially he was going digitally, and then he actually changed and he's doing things with ink. This is traditional.
Are you going to be selling pages, or?
That's a good question. I talked to him.
Only one right answer.
Yeah. Well, so he's in Argentina, so it'd just be a matter of shipping and things. I think probably the practical way of doing it would be, once he has a whole bunch of pages done, just ship them all up to me, and then I can distribute them. That'd probably be the route we would take. So yeah, I got to talk to him about that. That would be nice though, because I don't know, people have been asking about original art and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's always good to have that as an option. I've been able to sell a few penciled pages, and if you are working traditionally, keep that in mind. Anybody out there that's about to do a campaign, if you're working traditionally, keep that in mind as an option. I know some people don't even want to let go of their pages, which is understandable. But if it's going to help you get your book funded or make a new fan out of your artwork, then I say it's worth a go. And you don't even have to sell every page. You could just put a limit of 10 on there or something and sell the crappy ones. They won't know the difference.
Yeah, you just
sorry,
it does make sense. The thing is, though, Nacho doesn't do crappy ones. So
yeah. That's the correct answer. Also, all the backers that backed original art are only going to get the best, except for the one page that I love too much. I can't get rid of it.
It must be a good page.
It's my favorite page in the whole series, and it's one of the ones on the campaign. It's so simple. It's just this one. Which one? Where'd it go?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Let me go to my not comments, updates.
Well,
It's silly, but for me, it's my favorite page right here, and that one is not for sale. I don't know why. I think it's Red's face there in panel 2, and the bat is just one. It's one of my most cherished pieces of artwork I've done. It's not super outstanding, but every time I look at it, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So
something about I don't know. I get seeing that it worked. I guess maybe I wouldn't know because I never draw anything that works. But
yeah, we know.
I can imagine. Yeah. Albino Thunderbun says, I thought so. I was sure he was working digitally, but that page looks like ink on paper. Looks great. Yeah, he started. So I found out it was the cover he was doing digitally, and then we had some visions for it, and he just switched to doing it traditionally, and he's been doing it traditionally ever since. So basically, he's got pages for every single page so far. So yeah, that could be nice.
So, do we have any of the goods? You got something for me?
Yeah, asking about some screenshots to read.
Got any screenshots for me?
I don't know, George. So a little filling people in. George was attacked on Reddit some number of months ago, and I imagined that there were going to be some nasty quotes from that. But I don't know. George, did you see anything?
I did look through my folders. I actually saved a couple of them because I didn't actually, I don't mean to sound dramatic, but some of these I thought like I would need them for legal reasons. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if we should read these. They're kind of, it was like 6 months ago, so it's over now, but also they're still creepy to me.
You think they're creepy now?
That's fair.
Like, no, I mean, it's been a long time, but like some of these are,
yeah,
just a wuss. But like someone
I have an idea.
Tried to share. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. We don't need to read any of these. We will respect your legal privacy or whatever that may be. But I have an idea. Clint?
Yes.
We need an email. We need users. We need the guys in the chat. We need the gals in the chat to send in their hate tweets. They can black out the names if they want. But if you have a hate tweet that you want read by Sheev Palpatine himself, send it into
sweetcastclint@gmail.com.
There you go. Way to pick up the slack on that one.
There we go.
So unfortunately, we don't have any hate tweets today. The world is too lovely. Apparently, unless you live in Portland.
Peaches and roses. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you see ridiculous stuff, again, like I always kind of go back and forth about should we black out their names? Should we not? Like on one hand, it's public. You know, if you're going to say something in public, I don't know. That's the way that I view social media. If I say something, I expect everyone to see it if they want to. Mm-hmm. Not everybody thinks like that, though. Unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're into the comedy,
do it.
Yes, absolutely. Stream.
I'll give you guys one. No, actually, I'm not. No, I'm sorry.
Oh man.
Well,
I was simultaneously excited and then brokenhearted.
No, I realized it included someone that like no one's talked about in months, and I think we should leave that alone.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'd be happy to never hear from her again.
We can change names to protect the innocent as well. I mean,
yeah, we can do that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been blocked, which has actually been really nice, but I feel like everybody else is getting bored because all these online Antifa people have blocked everybody.
Antifa.
It's like it's actually really quiet and peaceful as far as that goes. But then I
have a theory about that. since they've all been blocked, and I think some people that like to fight are continuing to fight. They're just moving their fight inward. I think that's the main problem, is the big enemies are no longer there.
Yeah, they've run out of targets, so they're targeting each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens in any closed system. Like cults are a hobby of mine to study. Eventually, when they reach the point where they metastasize, they start doing purity tests on each other, and it's like, well, I'm even more of a believer than you are. I'm going to climb this hierarchy now,
I
and
will
you're not
walk
allowed
on
to
the
talk
hot
to
coals for
outsiders.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucifer Love Monkey. Sorry, Lucifer Love Monkey. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Lucifer Love Monkey says, "You've got to fix that frame picture in the background. It's driving me insane." You're right. I bumped that when I was walking.
You know, that was not you. That was the ghost child that lived in your house.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
We've got poltergeist activity. I think we need to talk to Elliot and Brian of Paranormalist about that. And we might need to get an investigation team in here.
So it's got to be fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alfonso Prouty says, "Come on, sweet cast. I can take you." I've been getting a lot of people calling me out lately. I'm not sure what that's about, but I will take it. Alfonso, he made some how-to videos on OBS, and so I'm going to get into those once I get my computer assembled.
Yeah, I heard he's the OBS ninja.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about getting into that. Al says, "Can I share Otis Frampton's Indiegogo campaign, please?" You can. I did a video on Otis Frampton's campaign. He didn't really want me to promote it though, so I don't know. I'm just respecting his wishes, but you can post away for sure.
Yeah, if you want to drop a link, feel free.
Do it.
But he doesn't want us to promote him, so
yeah. Albino Thunderbuns says, "Eric Weathers, Al is asking if she can." Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, double coverage.
We got it.
Double
Mission
coverage.
received. Transmission received. That's not the right phrase. I don't know what to do. I don't have Palpatine to work with today, so
It's been streaming all day. Are you having Palpatine withdrawals?
I am. I've been lettering all day, been streaming all day. And I'm not done. Like, this is only the beginning.
Yeah, only the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, let's I think we're toward the end here. Let's check up on all these campaigns real fast. Why don't we start with Mary Sue, and we'll see how George is doing. This is one of those things, like, you plan on backing a book and you see it there and you think, oh, I'll get to it eventually, and then pretty soon it passes you by. That happened to me twice that I can remember. And so when I want a campaign, I just get on it immediately. So Mary Sue looks really good. I'm excited about it. I've read through I can't think of the name. Problematic. So far, really, really enjoying it. And so I've got really high expectations for you, George. I think Mary Sue is going to be good. So don't disappoint me.
You set a high bar.
Well, I can only do the best that I can. And,
good answer.
I mean, look, I am planning to continue this. So the important thing is not only to finish these 2 books, but to finish them strong and to leave people wanting more. So that's the goal.
Yep. I think it looks really good. Artwork looks good.
You got another backer. You're at 40 now with 1680.
Yeah.
Nailed it. What's the percentage at? Is that 30 something?
33%.
33, exactly.
33. This is getting funded.
Yeah, man.
Statistically speaking, once you hit, I can't remember what it is, but 33% is well over what you need.
I figure if my funding what is it? Like, the time elapsed is lower than the funding, then I think we're good to go.
Yeah. So do jump in now. Here's the next one, Wyatt's book. This looks really good. The art looks good. The story sounds good. And yeah, issue 0, you're at what percentage? You're about the same.
About the same,
28%. 28, yeah.
28%. Probably only a backer or 2 away from 33. I don't know. I'm not good at math. We'll just go with that. Yeah, looks good. Check it out for sure. I know the links are posted a lot, and I'm going to make sure that the links are in the description of this video as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. All of that really, really helps out the channel without, it costs you nothing. And that really supports us. I guarantee we'll post this and it will be demonetized. So thank you everybody that sent in those super chats. That really offsets anything. It makes it so we don't need YouTube to monetize us in order to make it work. So I really do appreciate that from everybody. All right, great. I think we're going to close it off now. Thanks everybody. See you next time.
Yeah. Bye. Farewell.